number 89, that's Jeff McClure. He's trying to move around.
Well, Jerry, right now, they are a little over 10 seconds behind the lead pack of 6 cars. There's 6 cars up front that sort of single out and running in a straight line, where these cars are really battling back there for positions, and that makes a lot of difference.
Not the quick way around Talladega Superspeedway. Got to have a dance partner. Got to be able to use that draft. Now Venturini realizing that he could help himself a little bit, pulling in behind Jimmy Horton as Horton is drafting by on Jeff McClure. McClure been running intermittently in the Busch Grand National Series for the last few years. 25 years of age out of Harrisburg, North Carolina. Meanwhile, back up front, 2 cars trying to pull away some of it between themselves. That's Jeff Purvis in the car number 1, and right behind him, the efforts of Ben Hess. Charlie Rockback checked that. Those cars are black and white numeraled, and they come by so quickly. One of the good things about the speed here at Talladega, they come whipping by so quickly. That is Charging Charlie Rockback. That is a car that is owned by Floyd Garrett. It's one of the cars being prepared by Richard Childress Racing, of course, who owns and prepares the cars for Dale Earnhardt.
And of course, sponsored in this event by Poulan Pro. And I think Charlie has sensed what's going on there with Purvis. He knows Purvis has a fast race car, and he said, hey, if we can hook up together here, we might be able to pull away from this pack of cars back there. And that's exactly what they'd like to do as they begin to lap those cars. And this is what I talked about, Jerry, at the top of the show. They started lapping cars pretty early, and look how quickly they come up on them. But this is a wide racetrack, so as long as they keep their eyes open, watch the moves of the cars in front of them, they can get on through with no problem. Don't even have to lift the accelerator.
Car number 1, Jeff Purvis, only his second ARCA start in 1992. Started 6th at Daytona, had a good qualifying effort. Broke the engine down there, did not get to finish that event. There's Bobby Boucher, car number 21. Those cars being shown back in 3rd and 4th position. Boucher on the move.
Yeah, he was in 6th place early in the race. Now he has moved up to the 3rd position. Ben Hess figuring, well, hey, Boucher has a pretty fast car. Maybe if I can get in line with him. Hess had tried to make some moves up front there. Cost him a couple of positions, but now he says, let's get in line and catch those front 2 cars if we possibly can.
Ben Hess running in 4th place. Let's check in with John Kernan.
Ned, you're exactly right. Just talked to crew chief Lee Leslie. He says that Ben realizes Bobby Boucher does have a fast car. They got it at this stage of the race. They have to quit racing each other, because if they continue to race side by side and try and trade back and forth, what'll happen is Glotzback and Purvis will pull away. So look for Boucher and Hess to hook up and try and chase down the front 2.
That's exactly what they're going to try to do here, and they're closing somewhat. Boucher is coming in a hurry. He's the car in the middle of your screen, the car number 21. That's the Ford Thunderbird, and he has a Robert Yates engine in that car. Here's Dale McDowell slowing in.
Yeah, it's some kind of a problem with that 11 car, Benny.
He put an engine in the front straightaway by us to let out a puff of smoke, and he backed off the gasoline. So I would imagine he's through for today. He'll bring the car in the pits. He'll check it over. It looks pretty trouble to me.
Yeah, you can see a little smoke coming from it.
That's the Seal Tech Clint Folsom owned car, the Dover Cylinder Heads machine. Dale McDowell, an impressive young driver. He's one of the V6s here in the field today out of Chickamauga, Georgia. In that Dover Cylinder Heads Buick, it looks like he will call it a day. Single file, high-speed drafting up front at Talladega. We are in the early laps here at Talladega Superspeedway in the ARCA Poulan Pro 500. Back at the world's fastest stock car facility here in Talladega, Alabama. Glad to have you with us for ARCA Supercar Series racing action. It's a Chevrolet, an Oldsmobile up front. Car number 28, the veteran Sergeant Charlie Glotzback. Behind him, Jeff Purvis.
And not too far behind them is Ben Hess in the car number 37. And Bobby Bowser right on the back bumper of Hess in 4th place. And then P.W. Taylor. Roy Allen still running 6th to back that lead pack.
Here's a battle for 16th and 17th spot. The car number 16, Roy Payne, who picked up his first win early in the year back in March on the short track. And on the outside, that's Clifford Allison driving a Buick. Payne, the STP Prestone Rookie of the Year at ARCA last year. You mentioned that he won back on March 8th at Pensacola, Florida in the Southern 300. His first ever ARCA win. Moving by Craig Crew drives the Budweiser machine on the inside.
That pack of cars, Jerry, is not too far in front of the leaders. The leaders are coming up to the lap on them. The average speed, 192.921 miles an hour. That is almost as fast as Charlie Glotzback, just over 193 to win the pole.
You knew the pace would be very quick. You see these two cars, they are battling between themselves for 16th and 17th spot, just past the 30-lap mark. And here are the leaders. We get on to move in. That's David Simcoe, the car number 51, and Glotzback is going by. Ricky Sanders, the 18. Here's car number 77. They're sliding by.
And Jerry, they were told in the drivers' meeting, hey, when you see the leaders coming up, stay in your line. But if you're on the outside or the inside, wherever you are, stay there. And the leaders look far enough ahead and say, okay, he's running in this line. And then he can choose which side he wants to go on.
That's Richie Petty in the blue and white machine.
He's currently being shown in 15th position, Jerry. So, boy, they're putting a lap on a lot of good race cars here before they make their first pit stop.
Glotzback literally inhales the Roy Payne machine, the Chevrolet. Now goes to the outside of Clifford Allison. Richie Petty now moves to the inside in his Pontiac. Yes, he's the son of Maurice Petty and the nephew of King Richard.
Boy, they got to look up and say, hey, we've only run about 34 laps. Where did these guys come from? They've been sitting there running wide open, running Richie Petty and that group of cars, running good laps. But all of a sudden, here the leaders are blowing by them and pulling away.
Here's a couple other cars that aren't that far up in front of the leaders. Here is Bill Venturini and Charlie Glotzback. Bill Venturini and Jimmy Horton.
Caution is out, Jerry. Caution is on the track. Debris on the racetrack.
See that waving by Jimmy Horton? That's a courtesy of the drivers. Wave back and forth in the mirrors to the drivers behind them who are concentrating on the speed and the draft. And you see the Rain-X car in front of Bill Venturini waving likewise.
So you can see that the driver behind you can see that. We were looking right through Horton's car up there to Bill Venturini, and you can see his hand waving very clearly.
That's one of the reasons a number of the sanctioning bodies like NASCAR and ARCA don't allow you to tint those windshields any more than they do. They want you to be able to see through the windshields of the cars in front of you to look for trouble and also be able to see those hand signals.
Well, this caution will be a break for this group of cars. They were not too far from being lapped, so that'll let them catch up now and stay in the lead lap and perhaps catch on to the lead draft if they can make good pit stops.
First caution flag of the day coming out on lap 35 here in Talladega for debris on the racetrack.
They probably will be making pit stops, Jerry. They were not too far, maybe 15 laps or so from making their first pit stops. I guess the pits were closed that time around, so they'll come by to get the caution pace car, pick them up, and then the pits will be open the next time.
Most of the crews were figuring they would have to make 2 stops for fuel. They could go about 50 laps on their first fuel stop, but they would have to make 2 stops, so possibly next time by they will be in for their first stop of the day here at Talladega. Try to win this thing by staying up front. Pace car pulls away. We're getting set for more green flag racing.
The debris, the reason for this caution was off the car 04 of Bobby Woods, the Las Vegas Speedway car. He blew a tire.
Bobby from Corrupt, Nevada. Van Hess pulls away. Bobby Boucher in the car number 21. Boucher, remember, has never won on a super speedway. His biggest win at ARCA, he has 6 of them, by the way, coming on the 1 mile dirt up in Springfield, Illinois.
All these cars in the lead lap trying to position themselves, get in line with the leaders, and try to draft away from those behind you. There's Roy Allen Jr. running in 3rd place. Good run for him, Jerry. He's driven a good race so far.
He really has. He ran set on the pole in Daytona with very limited, in fact, no experience on a super speedway. Did not lead a lap there. Then he went to Texas set on the pole where he led 20 laps. And here he sits on the outside front row and is continuing to run in the lead draft. So this young man is learning in a hurry.
Yes, he is. T.W. Taylor doing a good job also with his experience in this division. But here is the car number 32 of Jimmy Horton. And who's that?
89. That's Jeff McClure, the Harrisburg, North Carolina driver. Behind Horton is Bobby Gerhardt. That's Andy Hillenberg, the car number 58 to the right of your screen, the white Brett Newell car.
Yeah, we're wondering if Horton, now that he got that break and got the caution, if he would be able to pick up the draft and with the leaders, but Right now, he's having a tough time staying up there as we got this battle here for third position.
Looks like Charlie Glotzback has come to the front in a hurry. He's taking the third spot away from Loy Allen. And he will try to move around the outside of Bobby Boucher and does it into turn one.
Boy, he has a strong car, Jerry. Bowser's going to get caught down there and be pinched off a little bit coming off of that turn. Glotzback should be able to just drive on away, although Allen coming up there could help Bowser a little bit, but he was pretty low on the racetrack. Now he gets behind him. Now he decides to go behind Glotzback. He said Glotzback is going to be the one to follow going into turn three. Maybe we'll see.
Charlie Glotzback on the outside of the track. Bobby Boucher on the bottom.
That's pretty impressive that he stays there by himself without the help of another car, Bowser. Staying down there. I think it'll eventually catch up with him, though, as those cars are lined up on the outside.
Showing a lot of muscle in that car number 21, the Ford Thunderbird. Then again, he's got a Robert Yates engine in that, so that may explain some of it. But now, as you said, Ned, the draft does take its toll, and Boucher will slide back into the fourth spot.
Yeah, he needs to get in line. T.W. Taylor going by on the outside. Is this Horton coming up on the outside? Yes, it is. So he is with that lead draft.
That's Horton, Venturini, and company coming, but meanwhile, it looks like Charlie Glotzback has zipped around. Ben has to take the lead.
And could be that those new tires, he put on 4 tires, Hess didn't take any. And in the turns, I believe it's making a difference, Jerry.
Now a challenge for second spot. Loy Allen Jr. on the inside, and they come out of turn 4.
We have 14 cars in the lead lap. I believe all 14 of them are running in this lead pack.
Inside riding now with Jimmy Horton at over 190 miles an hour. The Poulan Pro Chevrolet Lumina. Horton, one of the cars carrying the V6 engine. There are only 2 left in the field, Horton and Red Farmer.
And Farmer's being shown now in the 14th position at the back of this lead pack.
Horton being shown in 6th spot. That's T.W. Taylor, the car number 27 to his left, just in front of him in 5th.
Yeah, now Horton has moved up to 4th. Getting in that outside lane.
Trying to make a move on the outside of the car number 27 is Horton, and he makes it work. Riding now along in the draft of Ben Hess.
Yeah, he got Hess to move out there with him, and that worked very well for him once he pulled out there. Was able to pick up some RPMs with that V6 engine and staying right with it. Boy, what a difference it makes if you, who you're running with on the racetrack. That depends on how fast you're going to run. Horton was running wide open, but was losing perhaps a second to lap before this caution came out. Now he's with those fast cars and can run right with them.
Cars moving around. Car number 8 of Bob Goddard, the former 3-time series champion. His car running up to speed on the inside of the track. Charlie Glotzback, your leader. The first car there coming at you. Running second is Ben Hess. Oldsmobile. Third is Jimmy Horton, the Chevrolet. Fourth, another Chevrolet of Bill Venturini. Top of the show, you heard Benny Parsons tell you that Horton not really happy with the downsizing of the restrictor plate on the V6 engines. Bob Loga, who's president of ARCA, said, I think this guy's a whole lot stronger than what we saw in qualifying. And I think Loga was correct.
He certainly is running good right now. That's all he wanted was a break to get up there so he could pick up the gap. Here's Bowser now down on the inside. He went back pretty far. He's still running down on that inside. He's going to be able to move on by the car number 58 on Andy Hillenberg.
Bobby Boucher, car number 21, Hillenberg, the white car behind him, the 58. Behind him, Jeff McClure. Also back there. And Hillenberg had a good run at Daytona driving for Kenny Schrader, the Timmy Colas prepared car. These 3 cars are running together. The car number 1, our early leader, that's Jeff Purvis. Right behind him, the defending series champion, Bill Venturini. The bright yellow car, the Renex.
Well, look at him, jockey for position back there, trying to pick up the right car to draft. And I'm sure the fans wonder, I've had a lot of fans ask me to see Purvis really draft by on the inside. Can you really make sudden moves with these cars running almost 200 miles an hour. We just saw it, and they stuck. But it's a little different now. I remember reading somewhere one time that a 40-mile Ford running 100 miles an hour, if you get one of those, get a hill straight enough to go 100 miles an hour, only weighed 500 pounds. Well, that car was high off the ground. These cars, you know, they have air dams in front, they have the spoilers on the rear, which are pushing down, so that lets them move around the way they do in traffic.
3 cars having pulled away, but the battle back in the pack for 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. You're taking a look there as the cars now scattering down over turn 2. Jimmy Horton, Bill Venturini, Jeff Purvis, and a host of others trying to settle it back 5th through 10th. Horton just moments ago, he's the yellow car in the middle of your screen.
And all of a sudden, Jerry, the back end just breaks loose as he goes into turn 3 and backs into the wall hard. The others are able to get by down on the inside, so no other car involved.
Now from the in-car camera, the Poulan Pro in-car camera, watch him. He looks to be running just fine, and suddenly the car begins to slip.
Yeah, it just goes in there behind Ben Hess, and all of a sudden the back end just goes around.
Oncoming traffic, that's got to be a little scary. Now listen to what he was hearing in the car as we go back to the in-car camera real time, and we'll listen to what Jimmy Horton heard as he went into turn 3.
Yeah, it was almost as if the engine locked up when he went in there, but I don't know. It's sort of strange. She sure went around in a hurry for it. He could have had a tire go down or cut one or something of that nature. We're about to go back to the green flag racing.
I'm sure Benny Parsons or John Colonel will be trying to round up Jimmy Horton after he's been checked out at the medical center, and we can find out what the problem actually was. Back to green here, lap 56, and Charlie Glutzbach, who set on the pole here at a speed over 193 miles an hour, 193.045, trying to pick up his 3rd win at Talladega. In fact, Benny Parsons has caught up with Jimmy Horton. Let's check in quickly with Benny Parsons.
Jimmy, they checked you out in the hospital. You feel okay?
Yeah, we hit square.
What happened?
Don't really know. Poulan Pro Chevrolet was running real good, and we just wanted to sit there and kind of just ride, and it just snapped loose on me. I don't know whether it hit something on the racetrack, or the tire going down. We don't know. It's just one of them things.
Were all the tires, was tires flat when the car came to a stop, or did you look?
I didn't look at the right side. The left side was still up, but we'll see when we get back what happened. If not, I just lost it.
Could you have won from back there with that V6? Could you have won with the V6?
No, I don't think so. I think they finally killed the V6 with ARCA. And, you know, what can I say? Poulan Pro Chevrolet was going to do the best it could, and hopefully we were going to finish 2nd, but I didn't have nothing for Charlie.
Jerry, he seems to be okay.
Well, that's good news. Jimmy Horton taking one heck of a lick. You heard that impact from inside the in-car camera there just moments ago.
Here's Jeff Purvis now moving up on the outside of Ben Hess, trying to take over 2nd place. Remember, Purvis had a slow pit stop and was way back in the field before that last caution, or after the last caution. Now he is back up front, battling again for 2nd.
This side-by-side racing for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th gives Glutzbach a little bit of a break to pull away. He had about a 3-car length advantage, and you see Purvis now waving at T.W. Taylor, say, stay in line, stay in line. We're going to draft by to Ben Hess, and you and I will go catch Charlie.
Well, but look at Bowser down on the inside. He has a different idea. He wants to make it 3 deep.
Whoa!
Ooh,
Bobby Bowser just about loses control, gathers it back in on the bottom of the racetrack. When he loses some momentum, you see T.W. Taylor making a run on the outside.
Yeah, I think he had to back off just a little bit as he and Ben Hess actually made contact, Jerry, as they went into that turn. You see that on a half-mile track, but a 2.66-mile track, well, you don't much of it.
Back in the pack, you're taking a look at the car number 1. Jeff Purvis, T.W. Taylor, Bobby Bowser, and Ben Hess. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Glad to have you with us here at Talladega Superspeedway. Jerry Punch, Ned Jarrett, Benny Parsons, and John Kerwin on hand for exciting ARCA Supercar Series racing action.
There's still 12 cars in the lead lap, and one of those during the caution period, Jimmy Horton had his problems as Purvis tries to go for the lead, but he won't do it this time. Bobby Gearhart went behind the wall, Jerry, so he is out of the race. He was one of the cars on the lead lap.
Tough break for the Lebanon, Pennsylvania driver, the Omar Landis Chevrolet. Here's Bowser once again making a move inside of Ben Hess. He falls back in line.
We understand that Bobby Gearhart had a bursted radiator. That's what put him out of the race. and it perhaps was from debris from the crash of Jimmy Horton that put him out of the race.
Charlie Glotzbach is set on the pole here today for the 4th time in his last 5 Talladega ARCA events, dating back to May of 1990. Remember, Glotzbach won the 500-kilometer event last July, and also in July of 1990, so he is 2 for 2 in the July events. He didn't race last May here, didn't have a car prepared or ready for him, didn't have the Floyd Garrett machine ready. One car that is ready is Ben Hess, and that number 37 as they make it 3 wide almost, as Hess is trying to get a little drafting help from Bobby Boucher.
Yeah, he's wanting Bowser to go with him down on that inside, and it looks like Bowser might help. Bowser's been running down on the inside most of the time. Now Taylor goes very high. That opens the door for Hess to go on by and for Bobby Bowser to come by down on the inside. So now Hess moves up to 3rd, Bowser to 4th, T.W. Taylor drops back to 5th.
Leaders coming at you at over 194 miles an hour. Averaging a little over 192. We've had 2 caution flags here early on. Just past the halfway mark. 60 laps being shown of 117, which comprises 500-kilometer events sponsored by the Poulan Pro folks.
The flat car we saw behind T.W. Taylor. Taylor driving the blue number 27 is Andy Hillenberg. He's doing a great job here today. Running in 6th position. Now Hess moves to the inside. All of a sudden, something happened to his car. Bobby Boucher goes on by. Hess has slowed down. Everybody else goes by on the outside. So Ben Hess and the car number 37 starting 4th in the Target Expediting Oldsmobile headed for the pits, it looks like.
Lee Leslie in the pool will be standing by on that Jim Spicuzza-owned machine as Hess begins to make his way toward him. Let's check in with John Kernan.
Jared, just talked with Lee Leslie, a very dejected look on his face. I asked him what was wrong with Ben. He said, I think something broke in the motor. Ben will not even pull into his pits. Instead, he makes a hard left-hand turn and takes it back to the garage area.
Well, that puts us down now to only 11 cars in the lead lap. There is the lead man. Charlie Glotzbach.
Sergeant Charlie, they call him. Jeff Purvis right behind him. Bobby Boucher, no surprise at all that Boucher is up there. After running so well at Daytona, finishing 2nd at Daytona the past 2 years in the season-opening ARCA 200.
Jared, the Poulan Pro folks, of course, sponsors this race. They decided they want to get a little bit deeper involved, so they picked up Charlie Glotzbach and Jimmy Horton, 2 good cars here for this race. So it's good to see them get a little deeper involved.
Our AutoZone race summary leader currently Charlie Glotzbach has led 18 of the 59 laps. There have been 2 cautions for 9 laps. 3 different leaders, 4 lead changes, and the average speed dropping down to 160.46 miles per hour. Lap leaders have been Jeff Purvis, Charlie Glotzbach, and Ben Hess. Those 3 drivers having...
And Jerry, we have a caution right now. There is a crash over in turn... Well, let's see. Is that turn 3? Maybe it's turn 4 as you come off the turn. You can't see the car behind the bank there, but the caution is on the speedway.
Let's take a look, see if we can see. There's the caution flag from one of the officials being waved as the cars come by. Under caution. Look once again. This is Bob Brevac, the car number 34, and he comes into contact with one car which loops around. The car number 88 spinning around.
That is David Elliott from Woodstock, Georgia.
David takes a pretty good shot in the wall, brings the car back to rest. 35-year-old David Elliott in the Finney Racing Pontiac. So while we're under caution for the 3rd time today, we'll take this break and come back with more green flag racing from Talladega.
He got out of the pits first, and he's off to a good start here. Drafting on the car number 16 of Roy Payne. Now he moves around him. So Hillenberg way out in front. That yellow car of Venturini that we see back there, the 4th car in line, is in 2nd place. And then the car number 42 of Kim Campbell is running in 3rd place at the moment. Then comes Bob Keselowski. So we're seeing some drivers up front that we haven't seen in the top 5, but it is as a result of pit stops. Now these cars pitted, Jerry, as soon as the caution came out. When the pits were open, they came on in and pitted, and that has put them up front. They're doing a good job now staying up there, and it looks like we have a report that maybe the windshield is cracked on Hillenberg's car. Not slow him down any, though.
Not at all. Not at all. A tremendous run by Andy Hillenberg at Daytona in the season opener. He started way back in 20th spot, finished 10th, got a good top 10 finish. That's the car owned by Ken Schrader and being crewed by Tim Kohut. That's the machine right there, the white and red numeral car number 58.
And look who's on the sponsor on the hood of that car we saw there a moment ago, Neil Bonnet Honda from here in Alabama. You can see him coming at you there now, so Neil Bonnet helping out those fellas a little bit.
Andy Hillenberg, an instructor at the Fast Track Racing School. Had a couple of Winston Cup events last year in Rockingham at Atlanta. Stretching out a pretty good lead over the second place car of Bill Venturini. Venturini running in second in the car number 25. Then comes the car number 42, Kim Campbell out of Houston, Texas, in the Highway Master Chrysler.
And Keselowski running into fourth position. And fifth now being shown is Glotzback as he makes his way back up through the pack.
Glotzback now pulling in. He goes around Keselowski pulling in on Campbell. Campbell driving a Chrysler. He's the sort of yellow car in the middle of your screen. That's the car he purchased from Donnie Moran. Finished fourth here a year ago. And Glotzback just moves to the outside. Looks like it's going to be pretty easy, but not quite yet. Well, he does go by him, but he has to stop and pull in line behind Bill Venturini.
That car is strong, Glotzback. Watch him go by Venturini up on the outside. At least he's going to attempt to. Now Venturini moves up, and he wants to lead this race.
Andy Hillenberg trying to hold on, but he just can't quite do it. As Venturini, now Glotzback, now Campbell, and possibly even Keselowski go by Andy Hillenberg, who sits there helplessly and watches himself go from the lead back to fifth spot. Let's check into the Andy Hillenberg pits.
Jerry, I'm here with crew chief Timmy Cahuth, who at Daytona told me that Andy was the best rookie he'd ever worked with. He was out there leading the race. Did you have to keep him calm there?
No, we're not having to keep him calm here. He's doing pretty good on his own. Doesn't really look like a rookie some of the times.
I tell you, you're moving around. You look like you're pretty excited.
Yeah, he's doing it pretty good for Neil Bonnet there in the Neil Bonnet Aluminum today. So we'll see what we can do.
That's a very excited Timmy Cahuth. You couldn't tell that Andy has just been moved back a few spaces. He's still really happy with the run.
Got to be smiling, but he's still losing a few spots back there now as a couple of cars beginning to move in on him.
Well, he's done a good job. He stayed in the lead lap all day and had a chance to lead a few laps there. So he's certainly, for the limited amount of experience that he has, doing a great job. We've seen a lot of drivers with limited experience today doing a good job here.
Well, Kenny Schrader helping a fellow open-wheel driver who came out of the open-wheel dirt cars. The engine in that car came from Charlie Seeger's old Rick Hendrick machine and running awfully well. Charlie Glotzback back up at the point, being shown as a leader. Venturini and Campbell in second. Here's a battle back in the pack is Jeff Purvis in the car number 1. That's the white car. You see him trying to make a move there in turn 3. Inside, Bob Keselowski.
Well, Purvis was the last car to come out of the pits, Jerry, so he's made a good move coming back up through the pack. Now, see that gold and white car, the one in the back there? That's Red Farmer. He's still hanging in there, right up there in the lead lap. He is in 11th position. John, he's doing okay in his last race here in Talladega.
He is doing all right. You know, I didn't want to mislead people. He's not giving up racing altogether. Just after this race in Daytona next February, he's giving up the big tracks. In fact, tonight, across the street at Talladega Short Track, Red is going to run a 50-lap dirt track race, and he says he still enjoys that. In fact, he would prefer to continue racing on the big tracks, but he says getting too much pressure from home. We all know what that means.
Red Farmer has been racing for 43 years. Now, he won't tell anybody how old he is. He's driving that car number 69 there. But yesterday in the Winston Cup garage area, Richard Petty was sort of holding court with some of the media, and Red walked up, and Richard said, I think we ought to tell him, Red. I said, yeah, let's tell him. Richard said, well, I'm going to retire for this year, and you're going to drive my car next year. We're going to run for Rookie of the Year. So a couple of veterans. Red Farmer has been driving for about 4 decades, enjoying a lot of short track races and a lot of wins, over 700 career victories, making his final appearance on a super speedway now here in the state of Alabama.
He is something, no question about it. I believe when John talked about him at the top of the show, he said that his career spreads into 5 decades. So if he's been racing 43 years, that could be very possible. Started, I guess, in, the late 40s. And ran along. Look at him. Boy, he hasn't lost anything right up there and outside. Trying to go by Bobby Bowser.
Red is driving a car that's owned by Lucky Compton. In fact, it's in memory of Lucky Compton, owned by Kenny Compton, Lucky's son, and Lucky's widow, Joyce. Of course, Lucky Compton, a longtime ARCA car owner who lost his life after a heart attack the day after the Daytona 500. This car sort of came out of retirement to run one final race in memory of the late Lucky Compton. Side by side for fifth spot, Keselowski in the car number 29. That's the Chrysler, and of course he's the current point leader in ARCA competition. On the inside of him, a good run for the car number 89, Jeff McClure, the Harrisburg, North Carolina driver in the Superior Performance Chevrolet.
Now this car number 12 we're seeing up there, Jerry, he's being shown as a lap down. That's Clifford Allison. But he's running right with the leaders there. He's in 12th position, but he is a lap down. And you can see the red farmer has been drafting him for several laps now. He feels comfortable with him because he's worked with the Allison family, Davey. And of course, Clifford is Davey's brother. And so he knows what his makers are doing.
And Clifford has had two pretty good starts in 1992. Finished 5th at Daytona and 2nd at Texas. We'll be back with more green flag racing action from Talladega. Charlie Glotzback came down pit road.
Yeah, they took on a little bit of fuel just to be sure they had enough, Jerry. Didn't want to take any chances here.
They changed 4 tires. You see David Smith sliding a jack beneath the right side of the car. That's Mike Hill from the Budweiser team changing the right side tires. They changed all 4 tires on that car. Let's check in and see exactly why they pitted as John Kernan is standing by with Cecil Gordon.
Well, Cecil, you've come in and pitted. You gave up the lead to come in and take on 4 tires and gasoline. Why?
Well, we knew that the tires would probably make it, but Charlie had mentioned that it had just a little bit of vibration in the car, and I feel like the car's fast enough that we could take the time to put 4 on and get back to the front with 30 laps to go here.
Okay, thank you, Cecil.
30 laps remain in this 500-kilometer event. Lap 87 of 117, comprising this Poulan Pro 500-kilometer event at Talladega Superspeedway.
Hey, the green flag. We're ready to roll again here, Jerry. 30 laps to go.
That red car on the inside was Clifford Allison trying to get a lap back. That's the car number 12, the Buick that's owned by his father, Bobby.
But Jerry, the only 2 cars that didn't pit are Bobby Bowser and the car number 42 of Kim Campbell. Neither of those cars made pit stops. Benny, why?
Well, Ned, the Bowsers decided they was going to gamble 51 laps to go. They had to run 51 laps on the green. They felt like they could comfortably run 50 laps. It was a gamble for 1 lap. The caution flag came out. They run 4 or 5 laps under the caution. You know, they figured that they saved them 2 or 3 laps. They could constantly run the rest of the way. Why give up track position when you don't have to? They're leading the race. These guys got to catch them and got to pass them.
Good point. Well, we'll see if it works. But here comes the pack back in there. One of those black cars is Charlie Glotzback. He's just looking for a place to go there. Makes it 4 deep. He's going to, no, he says, that's not smart. Let me back out of here. I got too good for a race car. Don't take a chance like that. And boy, was he smart.
That's Loy Allen. That's indeed. Well, that's Loy Allen Jr. on the inside. The car number 2, Jeff McClure, the 89 in the middle. And the white car on the outside is Jeff Purvis. And you see Glotzback, just as you said, Ned, backing off, saying this is going to be one heck of a wreck in front of me. I'm going to try to stay back out of the way. Let these guys at least get cleared out a little bit, and then I'll pass them to pick them off. And Glotzback down to the outside as Loy Allen stays on the inside. And now Glotzback is the outside of the 3-wide sandwich in turn 3.
Yeah, he was hoping to pick up the draft of Purvis and draft right on past him, but he couldn't quite do it. Couldn't get up there as far as he needed to, so he's fortunate that this track is very wide, so they can run 3 wide. So he stayed up there, kept his groove up there, maybe even backed off a little bit going into turn 3, but now he's back on the front again, back up there with Purvis.
Sliding by the Bob Keselowski machine. Charlie Glotzback won here last July, also won in July of 1990. Won the last 2 late summer events here and going by on the high side.
Yeah, he saw Purvis come up behind Red Farmer, and there was Clifford Allison. So the Glotzback said, hey, I believe there's going to be a better route to run up here on the top side. So he moves up there. Work for him.
Red Farmer slipping up a little bit. He's the car number 69 as he's trying to hold off the challenge of Jeff Purvis. Purvis now moving up to the wide side of the racetrack.
As you can see, it wasn't very far up there to the leaders. Bobby Bowser still leading. Kim Campbell running in 2nd place, but here comes Glotzback in 3rd.
And a cluster of cars back there, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th, including some of the lap cars. The red car there of Clifford Allison. You see Red Farmer going to the inside. Keselowski is there. Roy Allen is there.
Those 10 drivers that we saw on the screen when we came back are the only ones that are in the lead lap. Clifford Allison being shown in 11th place, 1 lap down.
Bobby Boucher trying to hold off Charlie Glotzback. Boucher, remember, did not pit. Glotzback has 4 fresh tires on that Chevrolet Lumina. Cecil Gordon, you heard just a moment ago from him as John Kernan talking to them and explaining why they pitted to put some fresh rubber on that car.
Jerry, I'm sure many of the fans looking in will remember when Cecil Gordon drove in NASCAR Winston Cup racing. It's been quite a while, but he was a regular competitor for many, many years.
In fact, Cecil finished 3rd here in the 1970 ARCA Vulcan 500. So he ran awfully well in an ARCA event here. Now a regular shop foreman and crew chief on ARCA race days for Charlie Glotzback.
See Glotzback in 2nd, Ian Campbell running in 3rd place in the yellow number 42. And we're looking to see if we see something. We have a report that there might be something stuck in the grill of his car as Jeff Purvis comes up. Yeah, it looks like there might be a little piece of paper or something over there. I don't think that'll affect him too much, though, but you can see that white streak across the grill.
That's Kim Campbell out of Houston, Texas, 38 years of age, 4-time SCCA champion in Formula Ford and Formula Bs. Most of his racing has been done in open wheel competition. In fact, he set on the pole at Phoenix last year in an ARS Indy Lights machine. Has run 1 Winston Cup race, that coming last year at Watkins Glen. Glotzback now moving ever so close to Bobby Boucher. And give young Boucher quite a call. He has held Glotzback off. He has that car, that throttle hammered to the floor. Kim Campbell now running right on the rear deck of Glotzback, and there is Jeff Purvis in 4th position.
Well, Bobby's going to make Glotzback go high if he's going to pass it. He has been running low most of the day, and his Ford has worked well down there. So he's going to make Glotzback try to take that high out. And it looks like Glotzback's going to do it.
Glotzback sliding just around on the outside. Boucher does not want to give up the inside move, but he better think twice. But whoa, here they come together, headed to turn 1.
And here comes Campbell. He had a notion to go up on the outside. He decided that wasn't too smart. And here comes Purvis down on the inside of Campbell. It looks like Campbell's back end might have got loose for just a moment there. Bowser would do well to hook right on the back bumper of Charlie Glotzback there and try to pull away from them. But no, he's going to race him down into turn 3. He said, I believe I can beat him into this corner. Let's see if he can. Well, he had a nose out front going in there. But boy, you lose speed. You're running a stopwatch. When they get side by side like this, they'll drop off a half a second to sometimes a second a lap when they get side by side.
Bobby Boucher hugging that inside groove coming out of turn 4, and now the draft will take its toll on Boucher. He is down with no one to push a hole through the wind, and he slides back now, 2nd, 3rd. He could lose even possibly 4th or 5th spot.
Yeah, he had a little opening the last time around, Jerry, going into the turn. He could have dropped in behind Glotzback, but he chose to race with him down into turn 3, and my personal opinion is that that was a mistake.
So Charlie Glotzback, after that pit stop during the 4th caution flag today, with 4 fresh tires, finds his way back to the front, and is now our leader once again at Talladega. Safety car getting ready to pull away. Looking off lap number 102, this time by. Just 15 laps remain in this 500-kilometer event.
Jeff Purvis is the last car on the lead lap. He's back pretty far in the white car number 1. He made a pit stop, a couple of pit stops as a matter of fact, but he took on 4 tires. We'll see what that'll do for him. He gave up a lot of track position, but he felt he needed those new tires, so we'll see if he's able to come back up through.
Charlie Glotzback pulling away. He's in the car to the left of your screen. Behind him, Jeff McClure. There's Bobby Boucher, the car number 21. Behind him, Bill Venturini. In 25 machine. That's Roy Payne on the inside, the car number 16. He is a lap down.
And so is the car number 12, the red car number 12 of Clifford Allison. He is a lap down also. He is currently being shown in the 11th position.
Bobby Boucher now makes a move inside of Bill Venturini. Boucher in the car number 21.
Yellow, car number 25, and Red Farmer in the gold and white. Ford number 69 is running in the 5th position.
For your regular ARCA fans who probably don't recognize the car number 21. A new color scheme this year, brand new sponsor, the Quality Farm and Fleet sponsored Ford Thunderbird of Bobby Boucher. Currently in third spot. He begins to make a move now on Jeff McClure for second. Bobby says those sponsors own 65 stores in the Midwest, sort of a general store for farmers. Everything from fence posts to overalls.
Paint scheme similar to the Wood Brothers Citgo Ford that runs in the Winston Cup Series. Morgan Shepherd, the driver.
Very attractive paint scheme on that car number 21 for Bobby Boucher. Lots back the leader. Jeff McClure running in second spot. Boucher is third. Venturini fourth.
Jerry mentioned that we have 10 cars on the lead laps, and I'm sure that the fans remember that T.W. Taylor was one of those cars on the lead lap not too long ago, but he had to park his car. It had heat exhaustion, and so he is out of the race. That's why we have 10 cars as opposed to 11 cars on the lead lap. We haven't seen that car of Jeff Purvis. There he came into the right side of the screen, but he hasn't made much progress. He has picked up one position since the green flag reflew, but those 4 tires haven't helped him that much so far.
Single file racing back in the pack. You see Purvis on the right side of your screen, the white car with the red roof, the last car on that lead draft. Those cars all drafting together right behind the 42 car of Kim Campbell. Purvis really sliding inside then outside. Coming up in turn 2. Campbell now takes the throttle down to the inside. Purvis will tuck in behind the Andy Hillenberg machine. Hillenberg now being shown in 7th spot. Purvis is 8th. And Tim Campbell slides back to 9th position. All those cars are on the lead lap. The black car in front of the 58, that's Bob Keselowski.
Well, they really zipped by camera position off turn 4. One of the fastest places on the racetrack as you go past the start-finish line into turn 1.
Got to give a call to Jeff McClure, the second place car number 89. Jeff McClure, limited background in Superspeedway racing, only his 3rd ever ARCA start. It's his first time ever to come to this racetrack. And his very first start here, he's running second with a chance to win this thing with less than 15 laps to go.
I'll tell you, that's impressive. The Superior Performance Chevrolet.
Car is owned by Yvonne Howard from Birmingham, Alabama. Evan Howard, I should say, the Chevrolet Lumina. An old Rick Hendrick car that Cyril Vandermeer drove for Rick Hendrick up at Watkins Glen a couple of years ago.
There we see Jeff Purvis and Andy Hillenberg. And the car number 42 of Kim Campbell. Purvis' car, he has several times today, Jerry, has come from back in the pack after making pit stops, but this time he has not been able to get back up there. He came in a second time during that caution period. They changed 4 tires and he came back in. They changed the left side tires again, so I don't know if he had a vibration or what the problem might have been, but he's definitely not making the move back to the front that we thought he would. But he has some off the fast cars in front of it, too.
Indeed. Remember, we mentioned at the top of the show there have been 3 different winners in the first 3 events in 1992 in ARCA, and none of the top 5 cars right now, drivers, have won this year, so we definitely could see our 4th different face in victory lane.
I think that's a very definite possibility. Did you see McClure follow Glotzback as Glotzback tried to break that draft when he got in that traffic back there, but McClure was heads up and followed him right through there and stayed in the draft.
Laps are winding down here at Talladega Superspeedway. Should be quite a shootout as 9 cars are in the lead lap. We'll be back with the finish of this 500-kilometer event after this. A couple of young drivers, Bobby Boucher, that number 21 car back there, and Jeff McClure in 2nd spot.
Running in 4th place is Bill Venturini. Red Farmer still in 5th. Hanging right in there. The 6th place car is Roy Allen Jr. Still doing a great job. Hanging right there. You can see the leader up there, not too far in front of him.
Bob Keselowski being shown in 7th position, and then the white car with the red roof, 8th. That is Jeff Purvis.
Then in 9th, of course, is Andy Hillenberg, and 10th is the car number 42 of Kim Campbell.
A little history on that car number 28, which is currently our leader. That Chevrolet Lumina that Richard Childress sold to Floyd Garrett was the very first Lumina that was built as a Winston Cup race car. In fact, I was told by some of the people in the shop there that built that car, number 28, they built that car from pictures, not from even having a prototype to look at.
Here's Jeff Purvis now trying to make a move up on the outside, trying to move around the Loy Allen car, number 2. Purvis just hopes that Keselowski will move up there behind him. That's Keselowski in the black car with the gold numerals. The car number 2 of Allen almost got into the side of Jeff Purvis, but they didn't make contact. Now Allen decides it's time to get it behind him and let him go ahead and have that position for the time being.
Maybe take advantage a little bit of Jeff Purvis' experience on this racetrack. Purvis has had 2 pretty good finishes here last year. In fact, 2 years ago, he finished 2nd and 5th in both the Talladega ARCA events, 1990.
Jerry, it's time that the jockeying starts. We got about, 6 laps to go when they come back to the start-finish line, so everybody's going to start jockeying for that position. They know they need to be up there in the top 3 if they're going to have any chance at winning this race.
Charlie Glotzback, a lot of experience up there, realizing he's got a lesser experienced driver behind him in Jeff McClure, Bobby Boucher, who's run pretty well on the speedways. And here's Bob Keselowski, the current point leader. He is off the pace, and his car's slowing now in the banking of turn 2. That's the Chrysler LeBaron, current ARCA Series point leader, Bob Keselowski, and that will cost him a chance at victory. It also cost him possibly the point lead.
Yeah, and see the smoke coming from it, Jerry. Apparently something wrong with the engine. That's too bad. Let's go to the pits and John Kernan.
Well, then what we're hearing down here is the motor may have blown. The oil pressure gauge just went haywire. Keselowski just radioed in. He's going to coast around back into the pits. But the indication we are is the motor has blown. Yeah,
that's what it appears like. Even though he seems to have a little bit of power. He might try to ride around out there. No, he's going to come on into the pits. I thought he might stay out there. No, he is going to stay out there and try to get as many laps as he can and try to keep that point lead.
Jeff Purvis now beginning moving. Allen loses control and tags the wall. Coming off of turn 2, you see him trying to avoid maybe getting back in a draft. He has tagged the wall and hit it a ton as the car continues to spin down that 4,000-foot backstretch. Heavy damage on the front of that Ford Thunderbird. And Loy Allen Jr., the 26-year-old driver from Raleigh, North Carolina, will bring out caution number 6 with less than 5 laps to go. And here's the battle back to the caution flag. Charlie Glotzback lead them by as they come out. Here's Purvis.
Real battle for third, and Purvis got it.
That was Purvis, Jeff McClure, and Bill Venturini. And there is the reason for the caution. What's left of the front end, the front hood. Let's take a look again coming off turn 2 so you can see what happened on the right side of your picture.
Okay, he got just a little high there. He was in the draft of Purvis, came down almost. He might have tagged Red Farmer just a little bit, but it shot the front end back around and straight into the wall. And the pieces fly, and the car keeps spinning round and round.
Take a look from a different angle. If we can see once again, the car just gets a little bit out of shape. That's Purvis, the 1 car, Red Farmer, the 69, and the 2 car just starting to spin.
Yeah, it looks like he might have just made slight contact with Red Farmer's car when he tried to pull it down off of the wall there, Jerry. There was a lot of air turbulence. When you come off of the turns, you have 3 cars running that close together. There's a lot of air turbulence there, and he just got caught up in a situation. He couldn't see the air, what was happening to it, and it made his car react differently than when he normally comes off. Here it is again. See Farmer down on the inside, Purvis up on the outside, and he runs up on him in a hurry. He really runs up there. He picks up the draft of Purvis in a hurry and runs up on him quicker than he thought he was going to be able to, and loses control.
Let's check in the pits with John Kernan.
Jerry, I just talked to Mark Tudor, the crew chief. He has talked to Loy on the radio. Loy says he is okay. He says that what happened, cars had just a little bit of push most of the day, and then he said he just went in too high and got into some of the loose stuff and smacked the wall. He is okay. That's the good news. But we talked about him learning a lesson today. This is one of those expensive lessons that you have to learn, and because this is their only car, so they are very disappointed right now.
Well, Ned, you hit the nail on the head. You said in the last few laps of this race is where experience will pay off, and you'll see that cream rise to the top. We'll be back with the final few laps of this ARCA 500-kilometer event from Talladega. Flag racing action. In fact, we'll look for the green flag and possibly the white flag as the leaders come down out of turn 4. Yes, indeed. Green and white. 1 lap. It's a 1-lap sprint with 9 cars in the lead lap, and Charlie Glotzback is going to try to hold them off.
Yeah, he'll try his best to hold them off. He's off to a good start, Jerry. He got at least a car length or so on Bobby Bowser. Bowser hanging in there. Here's Jeff Purvis, who picked up 3 positions as he came back to the flag, as they raced back to the flag. Here's Bowser, though, moving up close to Glotzback.
Chevrolet, Ford, and Oldsmobile. First, second, and third. Glotzback, Bowsher, and Purvis. 4,000 foot back straightaway. They are a mile from, a little over a mile and a half from the checkered flag.
Purvis going very high. You say a prayer here. That's about all you can do.
Bobby Bowsher trying to pick up his first ever super speedway win. Glotzback pulls to the inside, trying to block the line from Bowsher. They come through the trial.
There's a crash behind them, but as they come to the start-finish line, Glotzback's going to win it.
Charlie Glotzback takes the victory. You see some of the crew. These cars now collecting each other, beating and banging at least 4, maybe 5 cars, 6 cars
5 or 6 cars involved. There's the 04 car.
Bobby Woods out of Pahrump, Nevada. He was one of the cars involved. Guys was the car number 91 of Keith Newbern from Lawrenceville, Georgia.
And I believe Andy Hillenberg was up there. I saw a white car up there early in the crash, and I believe he was one of those that was up there as well. He's coming to the start-finish line now. Indeed, it was Andy Hillenberg. He will finish in the lead lap. There were 9 cars on the lead lap at the end.
So that wild scramble for 1 lap, going back to green flag racing. And Charlie Glotzback, 53 years of age, from Sellersburg, Indiana, takes the Poulan Pro sponsored Chevrolet Lumina to victory lane. We'll be back to talk with Charlie Glotzback and all the crew at victory lane after this.
Race, you had to work for it, didn't you?
Yeah, we worked all day long here. You know, Bowser and Purvis, and first, like I said, while I go one, first one, another was right on my back bumper. Every time I looked in the mirror, there was one of them jammed up there. And I tried to get away from them all day, and we just couldn't do it. They were just stuck there like glue.
That's Charlie Glotzback, who's won 3 of the last 4 races he's entered here at Talladega.
This is 8th career win, John, overall in ARCA competition. And Ed, this final lap scramble involved a major crash in the trial involving at least a half a dozen cars.
Yeah, among those were Bobby Woods, Andy Hillenberg, Keith Newbern, Roy Payne, and Clay Young.
So that affected the finishing order. Let's take a look at the finishing order now. 42 cars started. Charlie Glotzback goes to victory lane. Bobby Bowsher, good finishing in 2nd. Jeff Purvis, Bill Venturini, and Jeff McClure in 5th spot. Red Farmer comes home in 6th. Kim Campbell, Andy Hillenberg, Bob Keselowski, and Clifford Allison rounding out the top 10.
And we see Richie Petty there coming in 12th place. Good run for him. Roy Payne finished 15th.
Some shuffling will take place in the ARCA point standings after this, the 4th stop on the 21-race $2 million tour. Exciting ARCA action coming your way from the high banks at Talladega. And don't forget, coming up next, right here on ESPN Live, flag-to-flag coverage, the 23rd annual Winston 500. And we'll see if possibly Ernie Irvan can put General Motors in victory lane for the first time since September of 1990.